Welcome to the Copy Talk podcast. Discussions in this show should not be construed as specific recommendations or investment advice. Always consult with your investment professional before making important investment decisions. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research Incorporated, a broker-dealer member, FINRA SIPC. Advisory services through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors Incorporated, a registered investment advisor. Financial planning services through Lighthouse Financial, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Shannon Ross is CEO and managing partner of Lighthouse Financial. Lighthouse and Cambridge are not affiliated. And now, here's your host, Shannon Ross.
Well, happy fall, everyone. Thank you for joining us this week on Copy Talk. We're celebrating fall in this room today. You, especially with your beanie.
Beanie. It's
Fun
beanie
mom.
weather. When it hits fall, it's beanie time. I've decided I think I'm going to try to buy so many beanies that I wear a different one every Thursday.
Ooh, that's a good challenge. Mm-hmm. I like
well,
that.
That won't be hard
support
for me to do because you know I love beanies.
I know.
But I figure it's a good excuse to buy more.
That's good. And you have your little fall scented coffee that we were all smelling this morning.
Real, I know.
It
Kelly
smells
thought
like fall.
Does it smell like
It does.
pumpkin
It smells
spice?
like
Really?
Because it's the spices, I think.
It's the
I don't want
pepper
to
and
ever
the
drink what's
turmeric.
in there, but yeah. We all thought it was pumpkin spice, and we all got really excited. And then you told us what was in it, and we're like, "What?"
Just trying to be healthy while I get my caffeine in.
All your anti-inflammatories. As we get
All the
older, it becomes
anti-inflammatories.
less and
That's
less
what I-
fun.
I know. Me taking all of my supplements and vitamins in the morning literally looks like a science
It
experiment.
takes a good 5 minutes.
Oh, it takes longer than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So-
mean, with all the things, I've got all my little cups lined up, all my vitamins. Hey, but I'm still kicking.
That's right. You're still healthy and strong. So that's good.
right.
That's good. Well, what do you do anything in your house to celebrate fall? To kind of help change the guard?
I love how you ask me questions you know the answer.
I don't.
I have not broken out the pumpkins. I have not.
Oh.
I'm not actually not a big pumpkin decorator. You are.
I
'Cause
put
you
my
have the
fall
white
decorations
ones.
out.
Was
I have
that
a few
actually
things.
a bait to get
No,
me
it
to
really
ask you?
wasn't. I just remember, what did I do this week? And I put out my fall decorations
She knows
on
me
Sunday.
too well. She knows I don't have decorations out. I don't have the flag out because I don't do flags. Like,
Yeah,
just the American.
I don't have the flag
I do have
out,
our.
but I have leaves up and wreaths and, fun
So
stuff.
Shannon, did you get yours out?
I did on Sunday. But it helps me because maybe you don't have to do it because you love fall more than I don't. I'm trying to embrace the change of the seasons because I'm just a summer girl at heart. I want to be in flip-flops all day, 365 a year.
I know.
And so I have to do extra probably than you to usher in the new seasons.
At least
So.
this time of year, we're both happy. I love it because it's cold and crisp in the morning. Like, we got down to 35,
Yep.
32 on Tuesday, maybe. Whatever day it was, because I don't know what day this is, to be honest. Thursday.
It's Thursday.
It's Thursday. But we get up to 70, 75 in the afternoon. So
Well,
that's
in Colorado, I
good.
feel like you have to dress for 4 seasons in one day.
That's
so
true
it's
this
very
time of
hard.
year.
So layers are key.
Yeah.
So
Hence-
see, I have a tank top, I have a shirt, I had a vest on that I took. I'm like, that's a little overkill. So I
You had
didn't
a
need
vest
my
on
vest.
over that?
I did.
I so wish I'd had the opportunity
So
to
I
see
did
that. I'd
not
have been
to
like,
bring
you
it.
need to take that off.
Well, what I'm really excited about today is that my love language is gifts,
I was going to
and
bring
I
this
got
up.
a wonderful
Pause.
text from you.
Pause.
What did that text say?
I have a present for you.
Yay! I love presents.
You do love
And
presents.
we've
Okay.
been busy this week, so I haven't seen you. So I'm like, are you going to bring it to the show?
I know. So I got you a
Ooh, it's
present
even
because you've been
wrapped.
super stressed and working really hard
I
lately.
have not
And
been fun.
I saw this
I
online,
need your hat.
and so I bought it for you.
That's so nice.
Now, you're going to open it, but then I had to bring all of the packaging that I got because let me tell you, this company, and this is not like
we don't
we're
have
not dropping a
sponsors
br-
yet.
like,
we're working on that.
This is not a plug. Like,
not
we're not
an
paid to do this.
advertisement.
But then I'll tell you the name of the company because I think every
Nice.
female listener, and if you happen to be male, this is a great place to get a gift.
Ooh,
So,
well, thanks.
You're
Who doesn't
welcome.
want a friend that brings them presents?
and when
Yay.
it's what is,
And I'll show you what it is because I know that we are getting better at showing.
and I'm
what
going to
it is.
help you too because you know I'm a control freak. I'm like, here, let me show you how to do it.
Ooh, then there's even like a baggie.
I'm telling you, this company is amazing. Their customer service.
goodness.
Okay, so when you pull it out, you need to hold it a certain way.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yay! Oh,
It's
so
a
cute.
little
Sorry, that
daintier
was a
than
little
I
loud, Matt.
expected it to
Yay,
be.
it's so. I like dainty.
But Kelly told me not to lean towards you. I'm sorry.
It's a necklace.
It's a
y'all, with one
necklace.
of my favorite brands.
Yes, it is.
Yay.
Okay, so what's really cool.
Thanks.
Now, it is pretty dainty. I know you tend to like thicker necklaces,
like
but I
this.
thought it'd be good like for
I like
tank
little gold
tops
ink
or
paint.
T-shirts.
Let's see if
It's
I
cute,
can do
right?
this by
Are you
myself.
putting it on right with the
Yes.
thingy
Well,
right the right way?
Yay, thank you.
You're
Is it on the
welcome.
right way? That was
it
a
is.
50-50.
It is.
Okay.
Okay. So
I love it.
Now inside, so it's another
Oh.
little LV charm. So when you
Oh,
want some color,
cute.
you can add it or
Yeah.
take it off, whatever. Cute, right?
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Isn't she the best bestie?
I am the best
Oh,
bestie.
it's not even my birthday
so
or
real quick,
anniversary.
I know we have to. We're close to our friendversary. Our friendversary is like in October.
It is.
So, all right. So
Thanks.
this company, just so everybody knows, so they do this thing where they get like either vintage charms or vintage buttons, like Chanel or Dior or Louis
Fun.
Vuitton, or
They're like little buttons.
and they make the necklace. So you're not paying.
Sure.
I mean, don't get me wrong. All of those other name brand, like
Yeah.
the full thing, theirs
Yeah.
are great, but they're also super, super expensive.
Sure.
Right. So you get these kind of vintage
Thanks, this is
charm or
fun.
buttons. I got a Chanel one recently and loved it.
Yay.
And okay. So then they make the necklace and they're super cute. So it's a great, and they only come out with like 5 or so at a time. And when they're gone, they're gone. I
Yeah.
think I got the last one of that one because I kept getting back on to try to. I didn't like that one that I saw a few weeks ago.
Oh.
So I kept getting back on, and that one was on, and it was going fast. There was only one left. Okay.
Oh.
And then, yeah, so it's kind of cool because you're getting kind of a unique
Sure.
item that nobody else that people may not have because they
Yeah.
can't make that many of
Sure.
them unless somebody else happens to have the same button. Whatever.
Yeah.
Or charm. Okay, so get this. So a cute little bag,
Yeah.
right? Okay. The company is called Unique You. Started with a U, UNIQUE, U. And then in the baggie, it is made for
Handwritten.
Unique April.
Wow.
Okay. And then last time it was sealed with like a pearl when I got
Yeah.
mine. Look at the seal.
That
It's
is
cute.
so
They put little
cool.
flowers
Oh
in
my
the seal. I know
goodness.
our listeners can't hear this,
That's
but
high
So
detail
yeah, I
to
hadn't actually opened this yet, but it's always a
That's really
handwritten
cool.
thank you card from the company. They are a small company, a startup, and they're like, "Thank you so
We
much
like
for
small
supporting our
businesses.
vision."
Yes.
Well,
That's
you
what
own a small business.
That's what we spend most of our time professionally doing
So I
is
needed
helping
to-
small businesses. So
I needed to brag on this
That's
company. They do
awesome.
not know me. This is again not a plug. I am second time I've ordered from them and so impressed.
that's
And it
exciting.
comes lickety split, and you don't even have to pay for expedited. I mean, you can get expedited shipping.
well,
but
thank you.
You're
I'm
welcome.
I'm a supporter. Thank
know.
you.
Do you like it?
That's awesome.
well, and when I opened
I
it, I was like, "Well,
appreciate
she doesn't
that.
like it. Hales may wear it."
Oh, hush.
Your daughter would like
it.
Well, because you like thicker necklaces.
This is wonderful. Thank you.
You're
That's
welcome.
very sweet. That
Yay.
makes my day.
Oh, good.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Well,
I'm glad that you listened to your
wanted-
impulse and
and you haven't. Did you tell Matt the title of the show yet?
no.
Okay. Well,
But I will.
I wanted to bless you because you've been stressed.
have,
And the
so-
name of the show is.
Well, go ahead.
No,
What's
you
the-
go ahead.
I
It's your
always
show.
steal your thunder,
No,
so you
go,
get to say
go.
it.
No, go.
Today's show is Blessed or Stressed because we're going to be finishing up decision making and starting stress management. And
Which
so, blessed or stressed is where we often find ourselves. So, we're going to spend some time there on the
Okay.
show. So, thank you for starting with a blessing.
You're
That's
welcome.
so sweet.
We did not plan this.
We
just
did
so you
not.
know. We didn't.
So thank you. That's a great intro.
Uh-huh.
And actually, before we start, because we're going to kick off with finishing up decision making with impulse control, I thought it would be helpful to kind of share one of. I was going to ask you a question, but you might not give this answer. I will have a funny story in my answer.
Did you just say?
But what I didn't know if you would answer how I think you would answer.
Oh, okay.
So because we just introduced impulse control last
Okay.
week, which, is basically the ability to resist or delay an impulse to act.
Okay.
And so I think what has been one of your lowest practices of impulse control, do you think?
Really? Well, once again, she asks a question that she knows the answer to.
I was like, I think I know the answer to this.
well,
But would it be New York for you?
oh, you mean like a certain situation or like an act, like something?
Or I mean like a fun thing. We're not getting to the deep
Oh, New
weeds
York
yet.
was the absolute
Yeah.
epic scenario of no impulse control.
Yeah. So we took a bestie trip a couple years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and we had not done this a while, and it was just a rough time. I had lost my dear grandmother, who was so precious to me, and
Grandma Jean.
we were going on a girls' trip, and it was the most fun I've almost ever had.
Almost.
I would say ever, but then I'll get in trouble later. I
Oh
think,
yeah,
with
don't.
my
It's
family.
almost.
But
Yes.
but such a fun trip. But what our philosophy was on this trip was just to, and we had saved up. We really had. I had, but we really allowed ourselves to do whatever we wanted whenever we wanted. Within reason, like
By
we
the
couldn't
way,
end
we're
up in
not
prison or anything
promoting
like
this
that.
philosophy.
But and what was funny is like so many people were so happy for us, especially women along the way. They're like,
We did.
I want to be on this trip. Like, and they were so nice to us and helped us and comped us with stuff because they were just like, yes.
From our flight attendants on our flight, and my husband, because of miles and points, was
Yep.
able to get us really great seats on
Totally.
the flight, and we did way too much shopping.
Well, and the funniest part of that is I sent my father a very funny photo of all the bags that we had, but I had forgotten that my iPhone was connected to my iPad that was at home, and my kids are always on it. So my kids saw the
Busted.
photo and was like, "Hey, Dad, look what Mom's doing."
Well, we busted ourselves. Well, you busted
Well,
me.
yeah, but I didn't. Well, the photo was the incriminating piece of evidence.
Yep. Well, so we had this photo taken of us at a really nice restaurant, and I had bought a certain
and that
pair
was
of
another
shoes that
incriminating
day
photo.
and
Yes.
a purse, and had both of them on. And my husband, you sent it to my husband, like, "Oh my gosh, look,
Yeah, we're
so,
having
look how
fun."
cute we look."
Yeah.
And my husband, my text immediately goes,
I was in
"Where
the
did those shoes come
doghouse
from?"
it still comes up,
Oh,
like on my
man.
naughty list.
Oh yeah. Oh well.
So
The fact that my husband noticed my shoes that quickly.
we were on probation, even going anywhere for
I
a
know.
little while.
Well, now they
so-
have such PTSD from it.
Oh, I know.
That they won't let us go anywhere with.
I know.
Nice.
I think my husband needs counseling because
I
of
know.
it. I'm like not even kidding.
And then I hid that purse for how many months? I'm just throwing it out. I'm just being real.
Well, and I just unhid the last pair of shoes from that trip 3 years later.
We're terrible.
So
don't
this
do
is
that.
an intro
This is don't do
of
that.
how impulse control can really wreck
Wreck.
things and create
Or lack
marital
thereof.
damage
thereof.
in your lives.
Yes.
And honestly, then that is very honest. So I thought that would be a good intro into describing when impulse control is way too low. And we all have examples of, someone. And that was a kind of a fun lack of impulse control, but But sometimes
Still the best trip of my life. Well, again, I shouldn't say that.
I know.
Because there's been
One of
family
the-
trips.
It's one of the
Definitely
top
best
3.
ever.
We can
Yeah.
say that without
Yes.
getting into
Do you
trouble.
remember? I know we got to go on, but
Yeah.
do you remember when that it was either like a room service or somebody came into our room
At like
and so-
3:30
No,
in the
no, no.
morning?
Oh, no, that was weird. That
Oh,
was
yeah.
a weird. No. Remember? Didn't we have somebody come had dropped something off in our room and they saw all of our bags and they were like, "Whoa."
Oh, yeah, that did.
They're like, "Oh, wow." I'm like, "Yeah, we
I think we were known in that hotel. Like everyone knew, like we
Go
we
to
were
that
very
room.
well known. Yeah. But everyone was so awesome and
Yeah.
so nice and supportive.
Well,
Sure, I
they
know
tend to be
why.
real nice
Yeah.
when you spend that much money, Shannon. I don't think it's that they just loved us that much.
I do think they got a kick out of us. But anywho, we should
Well,
post some more
we
pictures
get a kick
from
out
that
of us.
trip. We
All
do.
right.
And so
Let's keep
impulse control
Yep.
and the importance of that is because it can really mess with you. And our last show is called Spending Spree. And so we didn't have time to share
to
that
cover
story
it, yeah.
last week. So I wanted to open this show with impulse control. And again, the ability to resist or delay an impulse or temptation to avoid rash behaviors and rash decision making. So this can also happen. Think of a time, I want all of you listening out there, think of a time when someone has wronged you and you feel that like stuff rising up in your gut and you just want to act,
Unleash.
unleash
Revenge.
Like usually your initial reaction is anger of, you want to write that email, you want to send that text, you
Right.
want to, even drive to their house,
It's
whatever.
justice. Justice,
yes,
right? That's where
it definitely, and we've all been
feel
there,
that
right?
way.
We've all been there where it's like this, like, oh, I have to respond immediately. And both decision making and this next category of stress tolerance, I feel like are the two most, I'm big on strategy and I'm a big strategist and I love studying strategy. If you can become more masters of decision making and stress tolerance in some of these skills that we're going to talk about, and impulse control is a big one, you can have such a unique position because a lot of people, I don't think, pay a lot of attention on how to improve in this.
Okay.
Because how often do you need to sleep on it, to not send the email? You can write it, but don't send it. And then in the morning, you're more rational. You've had 24 hours to think about it. I
would have a few less regrets if I would have taken the time to sleep on something.
Yeah.
Think it through.
And sometimes I get it. Sometimes there's just a threshold that is way overkill and you're never going to come back down and you just can't stop yourself. I totally get that. We've all been there too. Yeah. But the better that we can manage these emotions, especially when someone wrongs us, I think the more of an advantage we give ourselves just to maintain a high road that over time will serve us better.
Well, because a lot of times acting, if you've got if a situation, if you react too quickly, you don't practice impulse control, it's typically going to trigger some type of emotional stress afterwards, or there is some consequence that cannot be undone.
Sure.
That now just adds more baggage to whatever it is that you're having to deal with at that time. Yeah. And depending upon the circumstance, who needs more to deal with than they've already got on their plate? At least that's my experience.
I agree with you 100%. Yeah. And I think most of us deal with more of a too low impulse control because that's again, like spending sprees, tirades, revenge plans. Those are all low on the impulse control side. And I feel like that's where we all kind of struggle more. So I don't think there's a whole lot of us. And this is kind of the boring side of impulse control, is being too high. Like you can't make a decision. Like you're paralyzed. You're just,
what would too high?
You can't, you hold back. You constantly hold back. So maybe you have a good sign to know if you're too high in impulse control is you have a lot of thoughts going on in your head of all the scenarios. So you constantly go over like, well, this might happen and this might happen, and you can never do anything. And I feel it can come into play. Sometimes we can all overthink things, but I don't think
this is... So you're always waiting, never executing?
Yes. So I don't think that this is as prevalent and nearly not as dangerous than the flip side of this coin.
I think to be too
acting
low
too rashly,
worse, right?
So, because we all have this goal of, we all want to give ourselves time. When you feel these emotions start to bubble up, and those closer to you who have wronged you tend to, that kind of eruption point is even quicker, tends to be, or someone who's hit a very sensitive spot that you might have history or past trauma, or, just you don't have tolerance built up in that area. And so to give ourselves time to understand how we feel and why we feel that way. So sometimes, if someone wrongs us, it's not just them, it's the cellular memory that they're activating in us.
Right.
That it's not just this rash of emotion comes, and it's not, they're a part of it, but they're not all of it. And so we have to just, again, pause, wait, hit the pause button and just, okay, this is where emotional self-awareness comes in. Let me pause for a moment. What am I feeling? I am feeling like, my lid is blown off and I want to respond. And you just say, pause. Okay, why am I feeling this way? What am I feeling and why? And it gives you some time to take a minute. I know it's just maturity. This is probably one of the levers of EQ that could save us the most, but is the hardest to implement.
Especially if something traumatic has occurred as well. Yes. So if it's somebody's wronged you and it's traumatic,
or your child.
Oh yeah,
or your husband. It can.
If somebody has hurt your child, if somebody has,
quick.
And obviously we're not talking about a severe situation where you would need to act immediately, but anybody messes with my kid, the bear claws are, right? And it is hard to stop. Or if somebody has hurt me and maybe it's an extremely traumatic hurt. I don't mean necessarily violence, but I mean maybe it's a severe pain point. Maybe it is an astronomical hurt that somebody has done. To be able to stop and go, what am I feeling and why? I'm not good at that. I'm just going to be honest.
I know. But again, that's why EQ can be changed, because the better you can become at this, the more honestly you have power in your corner.
It's true. You really are more powerful the less you react.
Yes, because you're taking time to figure out what is required in action.
Yeah.
And this is where strategy comes into play, because it's oftentimes you have to think through it a few steps ahead. And right now, when you're irrational, when you're just pumped with emotion, you're not thinking rationally. You're not thinking with logic. You're not thinking 3 steps ahead. Right. You just want the immediate step that's next.
Well, and I even think fear plays into this. Like if you struggle with fear and anxiety, so for even, not somebody wronging you, not necessarily a traumatic event, but maybe even in the season that we're in right now, where fear and anxiety can really control and dominate people's minds, if you have low impulse control, you're going to run and do certain things quickly and irrationally to try to alleviate the fear and the anxiety versus, like what you said, stop and assess, why am I fearful right now? What am I anxious of? And walk through those emotions so that you choose a healthier route to go versus maybe where your impulse was leading you.
Absolutely.
I mean, don't you think this is why some people run to drugs and alcohol, to violence? Some people act out in violence because they're scared.
That's true. Fear is one of the biggest motivators out there.
Yeah, it is.
So to diffuse fear is not to give it more life. You have to starve what you want to kill.
Yeah.
And so, and what you magnify becomes bigger and bigger. So in these, and with emotions tend to magnify what's in front of us.
Yeah.
And so when it is something like fear, if we take the moment to starve it, if we take a few hours overnight, and put some more distance between you and what's going on, it allows some room. It allows some factors that are balanced to come back into the fold.
I think also, and I'm trying to think which one this can play in, so reality testing, what we talked about last week.
Yeah.
Like if your mind is overran, and especially if, what's the other one I'm thinking of? Reality testing, and you'll know it when I say this, but if fear has hit and your mind is going off the rails, you could be building out scenarios that they are completely irrational, but in that moment, you're going to act and to try to do something to circumvent whatever this crazy...
Well, and your emotional expression. So if you're high in that, you're not only going to act, but you're going to be, you're very vocal. Like everyone's going to know what you're up to.
Right.
And I said, that's my catchdphrase, y'all. If you're curious, I think I say it 50 times a show.
Dang,
it's ridiculous.
But I didn't notice
I can't help it. It's just it's one of my tics.
That's okay. Nobody cares. You notice it more than everybody else. Okay,
you should keep account.
You should.
Anywho.
Or I should.
So, and the last thing before we move on, because decision making, I feel, is so important because it really... We are especially in these times, decisions are everywhere, all the time. Decisions on what we're watching, decisions on what we're taking in, decisions on what we're making facts, decisions, what actions we're putting in terms of those things that we're using to problem solve. And I didn't mention this last show, and I wanted to, because we have a show fully dedicated to, I think, a very big tool that we didn't mention last week that really helps with decision making and reality testing, and that's SWOT analysis. We have a whole show. It's called Calling in the SWAT Team.
Yeah.
But it's all about this framework of writing out your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. That, again, is another very helpful tool to bring rational thoughts in, bring logic to it, to have emotions be a part of it, but not overwhelm it.
Well, and I think it's helpful to sit down, go through the SWOT analysis, and make a list of triggers that typically evoke an emotional response from you. And even think of maybe past instances where you do have regrets, where you were triggered and you did act impulsively, and kind of recount those and figure out what those are, so that when those identifying triggers, for me, is super helpful, because then I know when that is triggered, I'm starting to have the memory of stopping. Yeah. Of pausing and thinking through, okay, what has this trigger done for me historically, and how can I react differently now? Yeah. And not all, we're definitely not saying all impulsiveness is bad.
Right.
Like, there are some
trips to New York are great. Well,
the trip, yes, for sure. I'm sure our husbands would go, but the bank balance.
Yeah, that was not so great.
Not so good for you and your new purses and shoes. But no, there is some areas where you're going to have to act impulsively.
Sure.
That's okay. We're not saying that there's
impulse control is a skill set because you need to be well adjusted. It means you take in all of these emotions, you take into what needs to be done, but you pause and wait and you allow yourself to conjure up the right response.
Right. Well, and then when it's okay to actually act impulsive, like a quick response. Because there are come on.
Well, and how often when you think about those like Chernobyl times in your lives where you're like, oh, I wish I would have bit my tongue and just thought about it a little bit further.
I've never had that reaction in my entire life.
How much more could you have gained from that experience, gained from that situation, flipped it on its head? That's with blessed or stressed. When you are triggered, you are in a attitude of stress. You're in a situation of stress. And so the opposite is, taking time. And even if fear and anxiety is overwhelming you and you are as uncomfortable as you've ever been, that pause also helps you. Okay, what am I focusing on right now? I'm whatever you focus on is going to magnify.
Right.
So if I'm focusing on the stress, if I'm focusing on what is taking me out of my equilibrium, instead, if I can take a moment, take a breath, switch it, and even, okay, what is not just focusing on the circumstance of the moment. You're focusing on, what do I have going for me? What is going well? What am I blessed with right now? Sometimes it has to be that kind. I have a couple things that almost like is like a rubber band. Like if a stressor comes after me, I have a couple things that I do right away to switch that channel.
I've heard this, but do we know somebody that we both know that has told us to do that before?
I've heard a couple that I can't
do that.
Oh, we'll have to remember who. I don't remember who.
But I still think it's a great idea.
But to me, going to a place of gratitude helps dial me down immediately. Like, okay, this circumstance is overwhelming me and taking me out. Okay, I need to switch my focus.
Yeah.
Switching my focus. Okay, in this moment.
That's good.
I have my health, or I have, I am thankful for this. I'm thankful for this. This is going well. Like, it helps you feel like, okay, not everything is going off the rails. I have a great bestie who just gave me a present,
See, that's why I'm here.
So it's changing that focus so that, again, we are trying to take the pause.
Yeah.
Take the pause and just allow half a beat to go by.
Before you want to beat that person up.
Yes.
Because they snapped at your child. Don't do that. You'll still get arrested.
Don't. I know. It will end up poorly. Your circumstance will only get worse. So as we finish up decision making, I just really wanted to spend some time because impulse control, I believe, is one of these skill sets that probably is one of the top 3 of the most critical to master.
Okay.
Because if you can think of all the times that the worst things have happened, probably impulse control was nowhere to be found. You're like, yeah,
true.
What? Yeah, I wasn't thinking that way. Yeah.
That's like 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just get it out.
So as we go to our it's the final one, and then we get to tie it all together, is the final category of EQ that we'll just brush by today, but we'll spend the whole show next week on, is one of my favorite, because again, it's one of those key levers, stress management. Not that we're under stress right now, ever. I mean, life is pretty easy.
Listen, I live
for me.
stress-free
I think it's easy for
every
you.
day.
Those out there,
living the
sure,
dream. Actually, I am living the dream.
So this will be fairly applicable, I believe, for all of us as we dive in next week. But what the first one we're going to tackle, and I'll just mention it briefly this morning, is flexibility.
I'm sorry, did I miss? What's the last composite? What's the last name of this, or what'd you call
last name? Stress management.
What's the last name?
It's Steve Stress Management.
I was just not here for about 10 seconds. I don't know where I went, but I wasn't. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So stress management.
Flexibility.
Are
Are you flexible? Do you feel like you're flexible? I'm not baiting you. I'm just asking you a question, dork. Are you flexible?
I'm just not sure that's an appropriate question. Yes. I'm sorry, off the rails. It's the beanie. Matt, seen it before. Kelly, this is your first time. Beanies trigger the off the rails for me. I don't agree with my score on this one. I've been meaning to talk to your husband about this.
Because you feel like you're more flexible than the assessment
I do. What
shows?
do you think of me? Do you think I'm flexible? Ooh, on the spot.
No, I have to think about that. I do. I think you're fairly roll with the punches. If change, though, comes. Because flexibility is not just, do you roll with the punches? It's also how you react to change. And so out there, spend some time this week. Like, think about it. Like, what does change empower me? Does change excite me? Or do I kind of automatically just want all the details? And how do I need to mitigate this? Like, do you look at it as a threat? Because if you do and it more scares you, then you're probably not that flexible. So for you, I think it depends on what category it comes in.
That's fair.
Right?
Okay.
And so normally you're easygoing and you're flexible in certain areas.
Do you see her trying to kitten glove me right now?
Well, and we can talk about it more next week.
Okay, we will. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Well, I want to give an opportunity before we leave this show. Because it's gone so fast. I think because I've been overwhelmed with my
that's true.
gift.
Are we? Oh, yeah.
Where do people find us? Because I think it's very important that people know.
Well, Shannon.
And I think that you have the key to tell them where.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I can. We're here every Thursday morning addressing your questions, not yours. Yours. And having fun as we discuss important financial issues. I know you want me to get to it. All right. You can find us on Spotify, which, by the way, this week was the first time I ever downloaded Spotify. Had no idea how amazing Spotify is.
Our kids use it all the time. And the kids in this room apparently use it all the time.
You can't call them kids.
I can. I'm double their age. They're kids.
I don't know if you're quite double their age. Are we that? Oh,
yeah,
God,
we're that
never
old.
mind. Not mine. Mm-hmm. You're older than me. All right. Apple iTunes, that's where I've listened to us. KVOR AM streams or anywhere that you listen to your podcasts. And you can find us on our website at copytalkpodcast.com. Mm-hmm. Lots of resources, links. We're going to be adding some things to the website as we do.
Yeah, we're revamping it to completely
If you look at it now, just know that it's going to be changing. Yeah. And then you can also find us on our Instagram page where we want you to comment, engage with us, talk to us. Throwback Thursday. If you have a sanity spin, which we haven't done one in a while because feel like we've been insane.
Yeah.
Is that why?
Well, this will be mine.
Weeks.
Well, this should be yours for me this week.
That's my sanity spin is I gave you a present. But we do want to hear from you, so leave us a comment. And, you know what? I thought of something that they could comment on. Because of my age, I just already forgot what it was. So just tell us something.
What stresses you out? Because that's where we're going to spend next week.
Out? But that wasn't it. Anyways, whatever.
It's the beanie.
Oh, if you want to be reminded of the awesome name of the company that I said, Unique You, leave us a message and I'll respond to let you know who that is, what the name of the company is again, but it is Unique You. Find us on our Facebook page and then... Oh, dang it.
See, you need the hand position. There you go. That was
you can find us on YouTube. Yay! And you can click the bell.
And subscribe. Please subscribe.
Tell your friends to subscribe.
To make the next
spread the word.
Iteration of this by ticking up our subscribers. So the more that you can tell your friends about us, we really appreciate it.
We would.
We are growing. It's so exciting.
It is exciting. And we're really excited about being able to connect with our listeners, which is why we're trying to launch some new things and some new ways so that we have additional opportunities to talk to you and get to know you better.
That's right.
Not
exactly.
You.
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 All right. Well, we will see you next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, everybody.
Discussions in this show should not be construed as specific recommendations or investment advice. Always consult with your investment professional before making important investment decisions. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research Incorporated, a broker-dealer member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors Incorporated, a registered investment advisor. Financial planning services through Lighthouse Financial LLC, a registered investment advisor. Shannon Ross is CEO and managing partner of Lighthouse Financial. Lighthouse and Cambridge are not affiliated.